let's talk about prep work for next year storm. So
every area is hit differently. My house, I had one fence panel, right? But down the street, they lost like half their roof. The best thing you can do is just make sure that you're protecting yourself, making sure that for flying debris, your windows are covered and stuff like that would be the best way I would suggest to prepare.
All four of us sitting here do offer pre-storm services, whether it be boarding windows,
that's great.
Sandbags, junk removal from the yard to make sure we don't have any flying debris, gutter cleaning, free roof inspections to make sure that, hey, this is an inherent risk. Let's get it taken care of now.
Right.
That way we can protect your investment.
Yeah.
hey guys, this is a special episode of the Live in St. Cloud podcast. It is getting a little dark out here, but we have constructed a great crew tonight. Jason, would you like to introduce our guests?
Absolutely. So we have myself, Jason from around my town. We have Jordan from United Construction Solutions. Aaron from your new company Complete Construction. Right, Austin from 4 Aces and Matthew from All Seasons Gutters. Yes. So this is a fantastic episode here because all these folks work together collaboratively on different multiple projects. The construction industry is huge for a lot of aspects, especially before and after the storms that we've had here in Central Florida. So I'm excited to get going. So Dalton, why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, quite the ensemble here. So I'm just going to give you guys a basic layup here. We just ended storm season. So I want to know what you guys can tell about what's going on with storm season, how people need to prep next year, especially because of the huge influx of clientele we have moving to our state all the time. Obviously, being in real estate, I see this. It's the lifeblood of my business, but it's the lifeblood of your guys' business as well. So let's talk about prep work for next year storm, so we're not seeing all the chaos that some of them seen this year.
Jordan, you want to kick us off?
I would have to say, there's really no easy answer to that with a storm because you can't really predict how it's going to act, right? Every area is hit differently, My house, I had one fence panel, right? But down the street, they lost like half their roof, like literally a couple hundred yards away. So there's no real good answer to that. The best thing you can do is just make sure that you're protecting yourself, making sure that for flying debris, your windows are covered and stuff like that would be the best way I would suggest to prepare.
So I couldn't agree more. Being in the roofing and construction industry, protecting your family is obviously the most important thing. But after we're sure that our families are okay, we need to make sure that we can then, rebuild our investments. I strongly urge people. So many people sign on the dotted line when they sign for homeowners insurance, and they don't know what they're signing. They don't know the coverages that are in place. They don't know
the deductibles and what it takes.
Oh, that's a wasp. There's a
move real slow.
So again, there is certain things that people should reach out to, either a licensed insurance agent or a reputable contractor that does insurance work that can kind of guide them in the right directions pre-storm, so that post-storm they're not caught off guard with incorrect coverages.
And now would be the time, right? November, December, January.
No, absolutely.
Right, because you don't want to be stuck.
You can't make any policy changes once there's a state of emergency.
Right.
So.
Right, exactly. And then how about the gutters? I'm sure that's a big deal when it comes to recommending to our homeowners. I know for one, like if they're full before the storm, it's going to be, it's going to be a disaster leading up to it. So do you recommend to the homeowners, hey, you should clean it out in the springtime before storm season?
Yeah, so start cleaning out your gutters, make sure it's not, overflowing and causing damage to the decking of your roof. That way they can get out and get everything pushed away from the foundation so you're not causing damage to the foundation of the home as well.
Yeah.
Other than that, that's pretty much all you got to do with gutters, clean them out, make sure they're flowing properly. And,
of course. Is this something that you offer like as a service? Like you talk to the clients, hey, listen, before the storms come, I can help you take out,
And we can also do, we'll waive the cleaning fee if you purchase our gutter guard. So we could also put gutter guard so it's really low maintenance and you ain't got to do it, 3 times or 4 times a year.
Right.
If you got tons of trees around your home. We really push to make sure you clean your gutters at least every 6 months, so twice a year.
Isn't there like some kind of covering that goes above the gutters?
Yeah, that would be the gutter guard.
Oh, that is a gutter guard.
That is a gutter guard.
Got it.
I will also add to that collectively, I know for a fact that all 4 of us sitting here do offer pre-storm services, whether it be boarding windows,
Oh, that's great.
sandbags, junk removal from the yard to make sure we don't have any flying debris, gutter cleaning, free roof inspections to make sure that, hey, this is an inherent risk. Let's get it taken care of now.
Right.
That way we can protect your investment.
Yeah,
So.
that's great. And what are we doing, or what have you done in the past to communicate that to potential homeowners? Because, we don't know. Obviously, we can't prepare for storms. When do you communicate that, and how has it been received to the community?
Honestly, for me personally, it's communicated via social media outlets, referral sources. However, your company normally gets the good word out.
Right.
It's communicated that way. And again, it's a free service that,
course.
for myself, I know for Jordan, these guys, obviously, they're not going to do an inspection. They'll come give you a free estimate. But, making sure that your house is prepared for a storm usually gets a good point across. And most people are very receptive to preventative maintenance.
Yeah.
So
One of the big things of a lot of phone calls that I got after this storm was with people, especially that are on the lake, right?
Mm-hmm.
That have sliding glass doors. Okay, well, you have all that driving wind and rain, and it fills up that trough. And
Yeah.
those weed poles can't get out, so it fills up and then it flows back into the house. And I think, my sliding glass door is broken and all that stuff, and that's not the case. It's still sealed properly, but when you have that driving rain pushing against it, it's still gonna, even though it has that impact rating, if it's a newer window or a sliding glass door, it's still gonna flex, right? And it's still gonna cause gaps. Now it'll flex back but when you have something that's pushing against it at 100 miles an hour for hours at a time, and
it's kind of hard to stop that.
Right. So one of the things I highly recommend, and I told the people that didn't do it, is invest in the storm shutters, right?
Yeah.
The metal ones or something, not just plywood, because what that's going to do is it's going to help keep that pressure off of those windows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So just because you replaced all your windows in your house and a storm comes through doesn't mean you're not going to have leaks coming through your windows.
Yeah.
And that's another problem we deal with in the industry as well, is that, like Jordan's talking about, this door is completely fine. The structural integrity is perfect. This is a isolated event of wind-driven rain. Same thing in the roofing industry. You have people that call for leaks. Well, yes, it's a leak. Yes, there is water intrusion into their home. However, it's because of that wind-driven rain. It's getting up into a vent that a normal afternoon thunderstorm or any other rain event wouldn't cause.
Right.
There's nothing wrong,
Yeah.
but you have a serious natural disaster rolling through. And again, like I said, isolated event, things are going to happen, doors are going to leak, roofs are going to leak,
Yep.
gutters are going to leak, everything's going to happen. But after the event, there's not necessarily a lasting issue.
Yeah.
Back to the preparation thing, you can't. I'm gonna just go off what you said. How can people prepare? You can't really. I mean, don't think it can't happen to you. I mean, look at North Carolina. Look at people. I mean, for instance, I went down to Tampa after the storm and did some interior demolition where there was 12 foot of storm surge, 4 feet of water in people's homes, and I had asked, does this happen often? He's like, man, one guy told me, I've lived here for 25 years and this has never happened.
Wow.
It's never happened. And he's like, I can't, we weren't supposed to know. We have great insurance. And Aaron took the words out of my mouth. Check your insurance. Make sure, I was one of those people, just because I didn't know. I checked my policy before the storm.
Yeah.
I live in a manufactured home. They don't get insured for that much. My house was insured for $60,000.
Wow.
That storm wipes my house out.
In today's market,
I'm not going to
you're
buy
not
a
getting
house
anything.
for $60,000. It's not going to happen. So
Right.
when the storm was over and we were out of a state of emergency, we fixed that. But don't think it can't happen to you. I mean, there's people in mountains. They flooded in the mountains.
Right.
I mean, you know what I mean?
Right.
You're higher than everybody else and you still flooded.
It's incredible.
So it can happen.
Yeah.
So
So I would ask, just because as business owners, but also as people who care about people coming from a small town, what is the ratio of your work when it comes to rescue and prevention? So would you rather, obviously you would rather be preventing instead of rescuing.
No, absolutely.
And so what is the ratio currently and what would you like it to be?
As far as, I would say I'd rather it be, 80% prep.
Sure, yeah.
Of course.
That
It's
would
way
be, that would be
easier
the
to
smart
solve
decision,
a problem that's not a problem.
Right.
So
In in other words, though, do you get more calls post-storm or
Absolutely.
pre-storm?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, with daily life, I mean, obviously, in storms prior, I think we could all agree that Milton was kind of like an anomaly of sorts. Like, hey, there might be a storm out there, and then all of a sudden it's, hey, this tropical storm is now a Category 5 hurricane.
Right.
Hurry up,
Right.
and then you've got panic buying, and you've got you
Yeah,
can
of
only
course.
help so many people. But unfortunately, the call volume after the storm is always far superior to the call volume before the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of people will think, okay, their first instinct is I need sandbags and I need to board my windows,
Yeah.
right? But they don't think about all the other stuff that could happen. You
Yeah.
know, you could get water in your house, depending on the way it faces, and the wind's blowing through. It blows your soffit out, and it's blowing water
Yeah.
up in there.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's something you can't board up, right?
Right.
You know, they don't think about, oh, I need to get my roof checked. You know, how long ago was it that I replaced my roof and stuff like that? You know, especially
Yeah.
people coming from other states and buying already built houses. You know, if they don't pay attention to stuff like that, then that could,
You don't know what you're buying.
Yeah, and to
either.
touch on
Right.
what Jordan said, I know Matt offers soffit replacement, repair, all of that as a service of his. Just by looking at your soffit, you wouldn't know that it wasn't, sound. But
Right.
if you have somebody, one of us, come out and inspect it, and we can tell you, hey, there's not nearly enough fasteners in this, or
Right.
this could potentially prevent, this is the difference between your house being flooded and your ceilings on your floor and not.
Right.
So again,
Right.
the prevention is the biggest part of what we do, I feel like, when it comes to storm work.
Right.
Now, on a lighter note, when it comes to, obviously we've had 2 storms roll through and hit the state of Florida recently. So lighten it up with, obviously we want to all see prevention, but you guys have to come to the rescue a lot. So share some stories one by one, if you would indulge, and in a recent problem you've solved in this storm, so people can know, like, hey, that sounds like me. I have this problem currently, and I don't know who to call and who to fix it. So share some stories on what are the recent problems you've solved, especially locally, as this most recent storm rolled through.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Anybody?
So touching back to the sliding glass door thing, that was my most recent issue. Is have to go preventative, like I mentioned, is to get those storm shutters and stuff on like that to put on there preventative. But it was she had just had the house built, and she's only lived in it for 3 months.
Right.
Then the storm comes through, and she's she was freaking out, thinking, oh my, my house is I went over there, I flew my drone so she could see, showed her the roof, your roof is fine and stuff like that, explained to her the situation, kind of calmed her down. She had wood floor on the second floor, like real wood floor, not LVP. And so, I got my guys over there, we ripped the flooring up, ripped the subfloor up, made sure everything was safe, and then we're putting the floor back in for her now so we can get it back together for her before the holidays.
Sure.
So-
A super important time
Yeah.
crunch for the holidays too.
Definitely.
course.
a time
Always
crunch.
back right
And
up.
It's great that the severity of our storms get worse as time progresses, and it always just so happens that that August, September, October if we get one, we get the dinger, and that's when it happens.
Yeah.
Austin, I know you were doing a lot of work over in Newport Richey and things like that, so I know you solved a lot of problems over there. Got calls like crazy, so.
One of the problems that I see over there is they will let anybody come in to help them.
Okay.
I mean, I have pictures and videos of homes that had drywall cut out of them and quote unquote demoed. And there's Jordan, Aaron, anybody can agree with me. There's a right way and a wrong way to do
Right.
something, even when you're removing something. You can't go in and just hack something up because the next tradesmen are going to hate you because you've made their life 100 times harder. And it comes down to taking the extra hour to go around the house and taking drywall screws out of the studs from where you've ripped the drywall off. It's just, it's a respect thing for the next guy. I mean,
Right.
the drywall guy doesn't want to come in and have to remove 500 screws or 5,000 screws at that before he has to hang drywall. And account for, the floor and measure to the slab. Don't measure to the floor. You don't know if there's tile on top of tile or, if there, someone's put carpet on top of another floor. So it's as simple as pulling the baseboard back and seeing what that lip is to the foundation and making your cuts appropriate. So if you have an 1/8 or a 3/8 of an inch floor, you want to account for that when you make your cuts. So that way when the drywall finishers come in, it's perfect. They don't have to fill gaps and do all this. And there's a lot of people that freak out and panic and want it cut out, or they try to do it themselves and they just start tearing stuff out, which it's your house. You know, you do what you want, but at least pop a string line and cut a straight line, or, you know, help the next guy out a little bit, because all it's going to do when you don't is it's going to make your claim and your process slower, because every time not one person's going to put the whole house back together usually. Sometimes they do, not usually. There's going to be many different people in there. So if you can help the next guy out a little bit, and you know, when we were down there, the first house we were in, I had the homeowner actually came in. I mean, I'm telling you, we cut their house in half. You could walk in the front door and see every single corner of their house. There was no drywall to the back corners, and wow, this looks good. Like, what? Oh, I'm glad you think it looks good, but I mean, I would be freaking out if my house was cut in half. But it just take the extra time. I mean, it's not 20 minutes here and there is not a huge deal, just to make it easier on the next guy.
Yeah. I have a good help people out story, good feel-good story. After Milton, I know, Helene, we really didn't suffer much damage here in Central Florida from what I've heard and, you know, other reports, but Milton definitely got us. I went into a relatively new neighborhood here in St. Cloud, and there's people running amok, you know, knocking on doors. Hey, I'll come fix it. I'll come fix it. I'll come fix it. The danger behind that is not knowing their idea of fix it. If you walk up to somebody's house, and this is a personal story, walk up to somebody's house, elderly woman, unfortunately was in the process of being taken advantage of. Well, a guy walked up to my house and he told me my roof was $25,000 to replace it. Well, I have a $9,000 deductible. And I'm like, did he any measurements, anything, you know, anything leading up to this? No, not at all. He just walked around the house, saw that I was missing 29 tabs on a 3-tab roof. House was 3 years old.
Wow.
With a $9,000 deductible. Unfortunately, her insurance company, the price of the repair isn't going to surpass her deductible. So she's going to file a claim. She's going to get denied. There's a whole lengthy process that goes behind that, but in reality, replacing these 30 tabs is going to cost her, you know, $400, $500, $600 out of pocket, and not a claim on her insurance and a $9,000 deductible that's seemingly pointless to even try and file.
So it was a 3-year-old home with
3-tab shingles. Unfortunately, there are still some home builders that are putting 3-tab shingles on roofs, but and it's just a tab.
Get with the program, I guess.
Yeah, the program is absolutely right. But no, being able to help people in our local community by educating them. And that's the biggest problem, is the lack of knowledge. You know, they just assume, hey, missing shingles, file a claim. That's not the case.
No.
You know, there is policy limits, minimums, maximums, deductibles and stuff in place to keep people honest. You know, as a homeowner, you obviously have a vested interest in your own home. If you know your hurricane deductible is $9,000 and you've got 3 shingles missing on a 3, 4, 5-year-old roof, the insurance company's not going to pick that up. But educating people that way to let them know, hey, this is how this actually works. You know, you're going to have to spend a little out-of-pocket money. It's unfortunate. We pay for homeowners insurance for a reason, but if it's minor, it's honestly in your best interest just to have it taken care of by a licensed and insured contractor.
Matt, how busy did you get after the storm?
We got super busy. A lot of damage that we seen was soffit. And a lot of things I've noticed is it wasn't installed properly, so a lot of stuff was cut short. Tons of soffits blew out. J-channel wasn't attached to the walls properly. Those fell down, dropped all the soffits, and that just allows opening spaces to your attic. And, you know, you're going to have critters getting in there, birds getting in there and stuff like that you don't want in your attic. So, you know, we've been swamped with soffit repairs.
I've seen that a lot. Since we're talking about locally, I mean, you're right, it didn't really impact locally, but for those it did impact, and I was going to transition to this question because Austin started talking about it, and you touched on it a little bit as well, Aaron, which was, and I think we're all going to lean into this conversation because we're all pretty conscientious business owners here, is what are some common pet peeves that you do see from other business owners and things that you constantly have to come in and because you're right. I think if you're in a hurry up, things get overlooked all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Like everything of quality takes time.
But I mean, the nature of storm work is hurry up.
Yeah, unfortunately,
everybody
yes.
wants to retain and regain their normalcy, so it's going to happen.
Right.
What are some of your bigger pet peeves when it comes to storm work? You're saying?
Yeah, I mean,
or just the whole process.
Just in general.
Yeah, just what you guys see common, and you wanted to solve it early on in your career, but you still see it just from people overlooking it.
I would say telling people that they need more than what they need.
Yep.
Overcharging them for something.
Yeah.
You know, we're all, you know, you don't start a business, you know, to not make money. We're all in it to make money. I mean, I'm not trying to say that, but there's people out there that I feel that just take advantage to people that they can take advantage of.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I can't stand that. It makes my blood boil.
That happens a lot in my industry too. I mean, dumpster businesses have not made a great name around Florida and probably nationwide because they are scam artists. A lot of the bigger ones are scam artists, and you know, I think they practice, well, if they don't ask me, I don't know what to tell them. So just be upfront. You know, people will call me and I'll tell people all the time, yeah, you will find someone that's going to offer you a cheaper price. But please, again, read what they send you, read the contract, read what's going to happen when you go over this weight, read what happens when it sits this long, read what happens, know what each circumstance is going to be, because they've really created I'm not going to use their names, but they've really created a bad rap for people like me that are trying to be honest, and there's plenty of other disposal companies around here that are honest. There's a lot that aren't. So, I mean, that's a pet peeve of mine. Another one is, you know, they use that contract as a shield, which it is, but don't use it as a shield to your lack of respect for somebody's, most of the time, the biggest investment of their life, which is their house. I mean,
it should be used to protect you and your customer.
Exactly.
And not be
Exactly. And if you screw up, own it. You know what I mean? It's one thing if if I go somewhere, which I will never put a dumpster on anybody's driveway or any type of surface without some type of barrier, whether it be a tarp. Every dumpster is going to get wood. The rollers are not going to touch your driveway. That's to protect me, and it's to protect you. You know, we can put tarps down if it's going to sit for a while because it is a metal dumpster, and they will drip rust stains, and we don't, roofers don't want that when it sits there and it leaves a mark on the driveway. You don't want the customer to be like, dude, I just paid you, however X amount of thousands of dollars for this, and you're standing up my driveway. Well, in essence, it's not them. It would have been me. So now it just, again, respect the next guy and help the person out. It's just, but be honest. I can tell people all the time, if you call me, I'll tell you every scenario what's going to happen. The only thing I can't tell you is how much weight you're going to put in the dumpster. If you tell me what you're putting in there, I can give you an idea of what it could weigh. It all depends. If you Tetris stack it in there perfectly and there's no air in there, it's going to be heavy because you've used every inch of that. Like household junk stuff doesn't take up a lot of weight. But just be honest with people. That's all you really have to do, and don't use your contracts as a shield for your lack of respect. And that's just for me. I would rather have a better name than be dirty rich, So it's like,
And I think I can speak for all of us when I say this. Being forthcoming is one of the major keys to success. Like Jordan's saying, don't take advantage of somebody. Austin's saying, be honest. But being forthcoming as somebody in business, and I know all of you will agree with me, the last thing you want to do is call somebody at the end of a job with sticker shock.
Right.
Yeah.
Lay it all out on the line. Be like, hey, listen, this is what we have. This is a possibility. I'm going to let you know now that this, we're going to charge this at X amount of dollars per square foot or per pound or per foot or whatever the case may be. That way there is no smoke and mirrors. That way there's no
100%.
sticker shock. Because that's honestly one of the worst things. And that's what kills me about all of our industries is, there's an expectation set of, you're going to pay me what I want. Well, that should come with customer satisfaction.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that they don't feel like they were swindled, and that whoever sold them their product or their services was honest with them.
No.
You're gonna have good ones and you're gonna have bad ones. That's part of being in business. You're not gonna win at everything you do. It's you can try. I mean, that's the goal. You want to win, but there's gonna be times when you look back and go, "Wow, that sucked. That didn't work like I thought it was gonna work." And what can you do? I mean, you gotta move on. And it could be from you screwing up something, or you know, not the customer not telling you something. But I mean, it's just there's many different factors to it. But I mean, you're not gonna. My dad used to tell me all the time: you win some, you lose some, and you learn some. And you know, if you don't win or you don't lose, most of the time, or I'm sorry, he said you either win or you learn. And he said you don't ever lose. He's like you either learn that you're not going to do that again, and
exactly.
Yeah,
that's a great mindset to keep too.
Yeah, I mean,
you're not losing, you're learning.
There's
okay,
many
well, we're not doing that again.
I mean, there's
Me and Jordan are going through that right now, actually, with the screens.
Yeah.
You know, we had a screen company go and they didn't actually look at a job, and we told a homeowner a price, and we're not going to switch it. They wanted to double up the price, and you know, me and Jordan got a little bit of integrity, and we're not going to do that to the homeowner. We're going to do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Absolutely.
And we're going to eat that and move on. Yeah. But we're going to do what we said we're going to do and move
Standing
forward.
by your words.
Yeah.
You have to.
Huge.
You have to.
Yeah.
That means more to me than any dollar amount you put on something. I mean, if you can be filthy rich and everyone can be like, that guy's an a-hole.
Right.
That does nothing for you.
Yeah.
Right.
It does nothing for you.
Right.
And, you know, that's going to be your reputation around. I mean, believe it or not, St. Cloud still has very deep, small town roots. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know about you. I can't go somewhere that I don't see somebody that I know.
So you know.
Right.
My wife was not from St. Cloud, and you go places, she's like, can we go to the grocery store without you knowing someone? You're talking to someone for 20 minutes. And it's just like, you know, but that,
Or
think
dinner,
about how many times that happens.
You can't
You
go
know, I
anywhere.
do something for Jason, and then, you know, he tells Jordan, or, hey, man, that
Yeah,
dude
of course.
freaking screwed me. Like, you know.
Well, not only were we all kind of like brought up here in this community, but now running businesses in this community.
Course.
It's so far extended. I can speak for all of us when I say all of our wives are tired of hearing, I did that, I did that, you did that. And then on top of that, you get the, oh, hey, so-and-so. You know, you're out at dinner and your wife's looking at you funny like, who was that?
Yeah.
Oh, we did their roof 6 years ago. Oh, that's great. Obviously, you had a lasting impression, which is great.
Yep.
Some people, you know.
Yeah.
It's like
You built a foundation and built that respect, and they remember you because
Of course.
Exactly.
Of
and
course.
that's the good thing about doing business in a small town is if you're doing business the right way, you can go to Publix, you can go to Winn-Dixie, you can go to downtown St. Cloud and not have to worry about looking over your shoulder because you knew you provided a service that was
all
done
the way
right
around. Yep.
Because you're going to run into them.
Oh yeah.
I've talked to some contractors and stuff, and they're like, I won't do work in the area that I live because I don't want to see clients. And my answer to that was, well, then either your business model's wrong or you're doing something wrong.
There's a lack of integrity there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because your community that you live in, if you have a good reputation, is your biggest supporter.
Exactly.
Right? Because you could do all the marketing and you could. Sorry, I don't mean that.
No, please.
So, but you can do all the social media posts. You have websites. You can do flyers, you door hangers. You do all that. But the people that says, you know, when they're having a get together and they're like, oh, who did that for you? Or who did that? Or man, I need to get a new roof. Oh, we'll call so and so. Call Aaron, call Jordan, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, or you know, that's the best thing you can have as a business owner is those people.
I mean, word of mouth has always been, has always been the biggest marketing
And again,
tool.
like Jordan said, and no slight to you, what you do is great. It's amazing. I've seen it work for many people. But at the end of the day, you do a good job. You know, they always say you do a good job, they'll tell 3 people. You do a bad job, they'll tell 10. That further expands on the power of word of mouth.
Yeah.
Being able to do that in your own community.
Yeah.
You know, you could be out at dinner at a local restaurant and someone say, hey, you know, they're out with friends. He did my roof, give him a call.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, he did my gutters, give him a call.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good conversation starter. It's a good way to support your community and allow your community to support you in return.
So with all our neighborhood, you know, Osceola Rants and Raves or St. Cloud Rants and Raves, I mean, It's not 10 people, it's thousands of people.
Yeah.
If you mess
Yeah.
up one time, they're going to be
That's
the
it.
first to blast you all over.
Yeah.
So,
But in
again,
return, I mean, they also do say, hey,
Yeah.
they do a great job.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
It
It
could
does
be-
both ways.
It
but-
could be a benefit or a detriment, but I mean, as long as you're doing the right thing, typically it's a benefit.
And you can't
Yes.
please
Yeah.
everybody. I mean, let's be real. It's good.
Right.
There's going to be
Yeah.
that one where you're
Oh, yeah.
like, dude,
Oh, of
I've
course.
given it everything I've got, and this.
Yeah.
I don't know how to please you. You're going to have them. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I mean, customers always right. I guess.
Not bad.
You know,
I just heard him
it's,
to say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
it's just. I'm being honest. I'm
Yeah,
being
yeah.
real. Like I'm keeping it what it should be. It's
As long as you did
it's
your
gonna happen.
best, as long as you did your best, and you said, "Listen, this is what I did."
Not tooting my horn, I haven't had anybody that's complained yet, but there's going to be a time when
Yeah.
you don't do what they said. And,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, miscommunication.
It's
Yeah.
grossly inevitable at this point.
Yeah,
In
of course.
business today, it's
Yeah,
gonna happen.
it's-
Especially now. I mean, it's just the way
But
things
to
are.
play a little bit on what you just said about the customer's always right, like everybody thinks as like a contractor or any business owner, right, that's like a bad word. But if you educate them, right, then that's not really such a bad word or a bad saying, I should say. Like,
No.
you know, if they come to you and say, I want to do this, and instead of telling them, you know, like no or something like that, you say, okay, I understand what you're trying to do, but the reason that won't work is this, but to get the same kind of concept of what you're wanting, we could go this route. You
Right.
know, so
It's all in the
that-
wording.
Yeah,
It's
being
all in the
educated-
wording
it's
and how you
education,
present
right?
it.
Being
Yeah.
educated yourself, you can offer those options.
Right. Yeah. And you know, that's a whole nother topic about uneducated.
And I
people,
was a
but-
mechanic for years, so I was a little rough when I got into, you know,
Customer service.
Customer
and-
service wasn't really my thing. I was the guy in the back that was fixing it and cussing and, you know, this car's a POS or whatever. How it could go 100 ways, but that was a huge step for me coming in. I was like, just the way you word things. And, you know,
Yeah.
my dad was, you know, ran hotels and all kinds of stuff for years, so he kind of helped me. Like, hey, you know, try saying this. Like, it,
Mhm.
you know, don't be so rough. You know,
Right.
still let them think that they're right, but like you said, educate them in a better way that maybe they didn't know because they're not in the industry or they don't know how it works or
Right.
you know.
I want to extend on the education thing if you guys don't mind, because I know Jordan and I have had a few conversations in the past about it. People don't want to be sold to. You know, people don't want
Yeah.
to, well, this is the best price, this is my bottom dollar, I'm giving you the best shingle there ever was, or the best dumpster service, or the best gutters, the best sliding glass doors, whatever the case may be. They don't want that.
They want to know
And like I said, Jordan and I have had this conversation because in the industry that we both share, these people are spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
You know, obviously a lot of money is relative to the job, but hey, we're going to do this, this, and this. Okay, well, educate them. You know, they're calling you with an issue. First, you play doctor, you listen. How can we fix your issues? And then you change your hat. You play teacher. You know, this is the product. This is why we choose this product. This and help them make that informed decision, which again makes it so much easier for
Yeah.
all of us to do our job. I know Matt does it. I know Austin does it. I know I do it. I know Jordan does it. Just educating people and spending some time and being genuine and laying everything out on the line. Ultimately, in business, it helps all of us.
Yeah. I mean, they got to trust you at the end of the day.
Exactly.
And I mean, same thing in my business too. I mean, you got to talk about it. You don't say this is what it is, 1, 2, 3. You got to talk about, you know, what are your pain points?
Exactly.
What do you need, right? And then let me show you education part of it. Let me show you the ways.
How can you help me?
And then this is where I come in, right?
Yeah.
There's no like, you know, XYZ is going to cost you this much. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they need until they say, you know what, in my case in marketing, you know, I'm struggling getting in the top 5 in Google, or I'm struggling getting Google reviews or XYZ, so on and so forth. And it's like, all right, well, these are the steps that you could do. This is where I could come in.
Well, that's also why you sit down with people and figure out those pain points.
Exactly.
Instead of just, you know what,
Hitting it over the
Jordan,
phone.
you know what, Aaron,
Yeah.
you know what, guys? I know you guys are looking for some more foot traffic on your website. Pay me $1,000 a month. This is how we fix it. You know, I know you sit down with your customers and you lay everything out
Yeah.
and figure out those pain
That's it,
points
yeah.
and
That's
how
what it
they
is.
want to succeed and custom tailor something to them.
Yeah.
You know, through education, which is huge.
That's what it is.
I think a big thing again that we all share too, and maybe it's going off subject too, would be there's a race to the bottom most of the time because people want the best for the cheapest
Yeah.
price.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line to ride because again, you're bringing the education when you have someone that shows up. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of gutter companies that could probably do something, but you're like, they can, but are they just gonna slap gutters on your house? I don't know nothing about hanging gutters. They're gonna put a screw every 6 foot, or what are they gonna do? You have to sell yourself a little bit, like
Yeah.
Hey, look, we're gonna put gutters up. We're gonna,
we're
gonna
do
fasten
that
it.
through education.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And same thing, like I touched on earlier with the dumpsters, is like the only thing I can compare to is price because I mean, let's be real, it's a dumpster. People, they're throwing garbage in it. They don't want it anymore. Or it's waste. I mean, I joke around and say like, dumpster guys are one of the least on a job site. But at the same time, if the waste doesn't get disposed of,
No, it's definitely
it's going to slow stuff down.
It's definitely
And
necessity.
I've gotten a lot of business from being responsive, and there's been times, and it was luck of the draw, where I've showed up 7 minutes after they've called me to pick up a dumpster, and it's just because I so happen to be driving by there. But it's like, okay,
Always
that was
ready, always on
cool.
the
Like,
move.
Yeah, exactly.
don't expect that. We're getting busier now, and I'm bumping that 24-hour line with stuff. I mean, we're getting it's a little much, but it's again, like I said, education and setting yourself apart.
What's the old
Other than
saying?
price.
You can get it done cheap, you can get it done faster, you can get it done right, but you cannot have all
All three,
You
yeah.
can pick two of those.
Yeah.
If it's
Pick
cheap and
two.
fast, it's not going to be good. If it's good and
Right.
fast, it ain't going to be cheap.
Yeah.
It's just, and people think you're crazy when it applies to something as, I mean, I'm not putting houses together. It's not, it's, I show up and I provide you with a big trash can. Like,
Don't sell
it's-
yourself short. It is
Yeah.
a necessity
it
by
is.
all means.
It's a lot, and you can do it wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
you set a roller down, and there's
On a
so
paver
many different
driveway.
factors.
Yeah.
I mean, maintenance. I mean, it's a metal roller. If that thing seizes up and you slide it down somebody's driveway, you know what it's going to do to their concrete driveway?
yeah,
It's going to leave a valley in their concrete driveway or pavers. If it's too heavy, I mean, I will not put a dumpster down that's on paver driveway without some type of weight displacement board or anything, because you're counting on a brick this big to hold. I mean, the dumpster empties 3,500 pounds, so you're going to put one corner of that. You're
And full could
almost
end up north of
1,000 pounds.
20,000
Yeah,
pounds,
that's what I'm
so-
saying. You put a whole roof in there, you're
Yeah.
bumping 14,000 pounds. I mean, on 4 points. So I mean, that's what 3,500
blocks.
pounds per corner.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I don't
That's
think
insane.
a paver's gonna. I mean, it probably will, but rolling on
Take a
edges,
chance.
and again, was it placed right? Has it got a good foundation underneath
Let's just
it?
not take that risk.
You can't exactly. So
Right.
and everybody gets the same treatment. It's not If I put it in grass, it's a little different. I don't like putting them in grass because it's gonna
They
kill the
sink.
grass and they sink, and it's not gonna end well. But education and just setting yourself apart from others with it. I mean, you have to. There's a lot of people that do the same thing we do, and you have to.
Setting
Again,
yourself apart. finding
being
your
genuine is part of it too. I mean, don't be a person when you show up. Like you said, don't be
Exactly.
a salesman. Be a person.
Be yourself.
Yeah.
Be a problem solver. Be a,
Just finding the specifics too, because like we said earlier, someone can approach Matt and say, I want a new gutter. Or any gutter company, and they can just be like, okay, we're going to put it up with chicken wire and duct tape. All you said was I
Right.
needed a new gutter.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
Yeah, do they fully understand that every gallon of water weighs 8 pounds, and that's why we're putting our hangers every 3.5 feet?
Yeah, I mean, just looking at Jordan's house, what is that, 30 feet right there,
Yeah,
probably?
and-
And how many gallons of water do you think it's going to
Oh,
hold?
that's because you got that whole entire roof that's
A
flowing
lot.
into
I
it.
mean, it's
Yeah.
gonna.
You got a few hundred pounds of water coming off of that.
That's
At a
that's a
time.
steep roof.
Steep.
At a
Yeah.
time for hours on end.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you don't want to just put one downspout on a 60-foot piece because you know it ain't gonna hold it.
Right.
It's
It's gonna overflow.
and cause more damage than good.
And is it sloped properly,
Is
right?
it
Is it
sloped
sloped the right way?
Exactly.
Does it have bellies?
Is
You
it
know,
a
there's
sales
so many
factor?
factors that go into
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
it can be, but like in
And it
Matt's
causes so much
industry, for
damage.
example, I feel like, Austin's kind of downplaying the importance of a dumpster,
Right.
which we all know, and being in the construction industry, the importance of it. Trash happens. It's going to happen. It's a byproduct of everything we do in life.
Mhm.
It's a necessary evil, if you will.
Yeah.
But I feel like out of all of us, the most understood trade that is sitting here with us tonight is Matt. People are like, oh, well, gutters just stop the water from hitting me in the head when I walk in my door.
No,
Like,
they don't.
there is so much more that goes into it.
Sure.
And,
Yeah.
when people call Matt, it's like, hey, I need gutters. and I've seen it. I've worked with Matt. You know,
Right.
do you know why you need gutters, or
No.
do you just know that your neighbors have them and you don't want to get wet when you walk in your garage and it's raining?
Right.
Yeah, you're
Again.
protecting your foundation. Are you protecting that stucco? Or you know,
The pavers, you're protecting the pavers.
Are you protecting
Yeah.
all that? Is it
Your
all properly
landscaping,
wrapped?
your
Is it?
foundation.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
there's so many things that go into it that I feel like people don't know, and I know for a fact that's what sets Matt apart from a lot of his competition is, you know, I can send him to a customer's house. Jordan can send him to a customer's house, and if they have any questions, with 100% no shadow of a doubt, I know he can answer those and be, you know, that liaison between the customer and us.
Mhm.
So.
And that's a good point, because, you know, houses were built with gutters. There's a reason behind that.
Yeah.
Like, if it's in the plans, there's a good reason that
It's
those
not
are in the
because
plans.
Miss Clark doesn't want to get her hair wet when she's walking inside at this
Right.
range.
I wish the viewers could see, like, you know, our background now, but like, for instance, the piece in the corner right there.
Yeah,
You
the
know,
diverter.
I've had to tell people that, you know, man, what is that piece? That's ugly. And
Oh,
I'm like,
splash
well, that's
guard?
the
Splash
most.
guard.
That's like, that's a river. That's the streamline of where
Yeah.
all your water's coming from. And if that's not there,
Yeah.
it's gonna hop, skip, and jump, or
Especially,
gutter.
especially there in a
And
valley.
it's not
Yeah.
gonna do
Yeah,
anything.
you got two roofs
So,
converging into a water
It-
highway.
It's
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
exactly.
And
what it
again,
is.
Literally
it's
a
just
river.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are gutter companies out there that will put it up and not put that in there.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
And
it
you're
happens
like,
every
this
day.
is
Happens every
doing
day.
nothing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
And
it's a whole nother subject, but most new constructions aren't even putting gutters.
no,
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's a lack of knowledge there.
Yeah.
Why do you
Yeah.
think new
Well, I
houses
think
that are 10 years
cost
old
cutting
get
too,
re-roofs? And then, you know, you
Exactly.
have, my cousin's a painter, and he's like, dude, I paint more houses that are less than 10 years old than I paint houses
That are 40 years
that
old.
are 40 years
Yeah,
old. And he's like, you know, part of it's the material we use. He's like, we use good paint. And he's like, it makes my industry hard. He's like, I don't get a lot of, a repaint to him is repainting a new construction home. He's like, I don't get a lot of repeat customers because he's like, we use elastomeric paint. We use stuff that's good. That's like, you know, he showed me the difference. He's like, this is the paint you buy
This is the paint I buy.
and it breaks. He's like, this is the paint I buy and it stretches. He said, when your house moves, they're all going to move. Believe it or not, your house
Yep.
will sink, settle, do all kinds of
Exactly,
stuff.
That was gonna be my next.
And it's gonna crack. It's gonna move. It's
That's
Yeah.
where
gonna
you
do
get the
things.
staircase.
It's gonna, you're gonna get
Yeah.
staircase cracks
you
and
can
stuff.
see all the block.
And, you know,
yeah.
We're on a sandy foundation in Florida. It's
Yeah.
going to
There
happen.
we're surrounded by three sides of water. It's,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
But
Let's transition a little bit into one of your favorite topics, but we talked about local stuff earlier. You guys are all super into the community locally. We have
Yes.
St. Cloud After Dark that you guys recently got heavily involved with. Let's touch on where that started. How did you start getting involved with
It's a
St. Cloud After
recent
Dark?
acquisition.
And then what are some of the planned events going forward? How has it been treating you guys? How much have you liked it and enjoyed it?
I'll take this one.
I got something to say too. But go ahead.
So, St. Cloud Connect was started.
Mhm.
It's a morning group highlighting new businesses in, you know, our local St. Cloud community, with local business owners and, you know, business representatives coming out to show support, network. It's a free event. Austin and I, you know, all of us in some facet have been involved in paid networking events, and you know, there's various stringent guidelines. There's this, there's that. This is more of a laid back kind of hometown. Let's go to the cigar shop and support them. Let's go to,
Terracotta.
you know, Terracotta. Let's go here,
Yeah.
let's go there, and support these local businesses, do ribbon cuttings for them, all free of charge. We're bringing them revenue and, you know, repeat customers. St. Cloud Connect After Dark started. Austin and I approached John and Tony, who, you know, were running St. Cloud Connect at the time, and said, you know, why aren't we doing this more often? You know, what are your feelings about a nighttime running of this? So, you know, the people that can't make the morning
Right.
meeting because of, you know, children, family, work, whatever the case may be, maybe they can make the evening one.
you and I found that hard. That's why we.
Yeah, because
I
I,
mean,
was like,
you know, we have, you know,
I
at
couldn't
8
make
o'clock on a
meetings every
Tuesday. I
morning.
mean, we
Yeah,
got
it's hard.
things to do. It's,
well,
I
any
mean,
day of the week, 8 o'clock.
But
is,
I'm just
you know,
saying, yeah. It's
So
we're
we decided,
rolling, we're starting.
you know, most, you've got your 7 to 5, 7 to 3, 9 to 5, whatever the case may be. So the nighttime meeting started as a 6 to 8 o'clock time slot, highlighting local businesses and sort of highlighting local nightlife as well.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we are in an ever-growing community. I think St. Cloud, Osceola County, Central
Oh.
Florida is one of the largest growing communities in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
Our next meeting of St. Cloud Connect After Dark is actually November 5th.
5th.
we're going to do a ribbon cutting for Jason around my town marketing.
Hey, he's right here.
We're going to do a ribbon cutting for him at Old Fashioned Cigar. Again, that's November 5th, 6 to 8. So again, this is something, Jason, excuse me if I'm wrong, I know we've probably had this conversation 5 times. You don't have a brick and mortar in town.
Correct.
So, you know, they do ribbon cuttings at the Chamber of Commerce. I know Jordan just had one. It's pretty cool. This is something that's a little less formal, a little more casual.
Right.
Surrounded by your peers, local business owners, and your support team, highlighting him, but also highlighting another company at the same time. So, it's, to me, it's crucial. It's hugely beneficial in this small town that we live in.
Yeah.
Because as business owners and professionals, we can all gather casually, you know, and go out to dinner afterwards and make fun of Austin. Or
And the crazy thing is like I didn't even know Austin was doing dumpsters until I started going to the St. Cloud Connect, and he was there, and it was like, oh hey, I'm doing dumpsters now and stuff, and I'm like, me building houses and doing roofs and all that stuff, I use dumpsters
every day.
Daily, you know, I'm rotating them all the time, and I'm like, oh great, let's start talking about pricing and stuff, and I'm like, you offer that, like that's crazy, because one, they don't do it, or if they do, they want to charge me an arm and a leg to do it.
I mean, you could probably, stepping into that. How hard is it to get one removed or swapped out when you're using? I mean, that's a big thing. I mean, it could hold up another step of the project. You know?
Absolutely.
I mean, when you call, and I've had people tell me, look, man, if you show up and you say you're gonna show up, that's great, but I can't call you and you say we'll put you on a schedule and you show up 15 days later. Like,
but here we are.
I can't do like that. Puts people in such a bind because now you have guys or contractors making piles of trash, and now you're handling it twice, and it's just slowing down the project. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Jordan could say, maybe not Jordan. I've had people say, well, that's not my problem, and I'm like, well, it kind of is, because again, it comes back. Your name is on it. People that are building houses or paying Jordan or anybody to build a house or a building, or they're gonna come by and look at it. They're excited. They want to see it done, and when they show up and there's piles of trash everywhere, they're gonna be like, "Dude, what are you doing?" Like,
but again, here's a connection made from a local free networking group that and I wish more people knew about it, because it honestly. It highlights everybody.
Exactly. I mean, it started, with Tony and John back in January.
Yes.
Right, and it was 10 people. Right, I started going in like April around that time, and from that time to now, I mean, we're averaging 40, 50 people.
Yeah, there's a good 40, 50 member. I think last time I talked to John, I want to say he said our email list was something north of 150 people.
It's insane.
Like, there's so many people now that know about it, just not enough.
Yeah.
I urge even homeowners, if you're not in the business world,
just to be a part
consumer,
of it.
Just
show up. The connections you can make, and I've talked to Dalton about this in another group that we're in. Just the connections that you can make from being in that room one time on a personal level. Mm-hmm. So take the fact that I'm a contractor out of the whole deal. Mm-hmm. I'm a person. Mm-hmm. I can benefit from his services.
Everybody.
Every single person in the room has something to offer for the average Joe.
Yeah.
If you're kind of in a toss-up on what you should do with this project, or just come for advice.
Yeah.
Come talk. It's free. Everybody's welcoming. It's like a family atmosphere.
Yeah.
And you don't have to own a business to do it.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And
being able to have options.
Instead of just posting on Facebook or something like that, like, hey, can you recommend a local blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Right? You could come to something like this and actually meet the people.
Yeah.
And understand, what they do, instead of like, hey, taking a picture and say your soffit's missing after the storm, and take a picture and say,
hey, who can fix this?
Who can fix this, right?
Or mention soffit 5 times and it'll be on Facebook for the next 30 minutes.
Well,
you've said it.
Never mind the fact that when you do that, you're going to get 74 Joe Schmoes
Exactly.
that put soffit on their uncle's barn in the 80s. And there's inherent risk that I feel like people don't know about.
Yeah.
You do not want anybody on your property on a ladder if you don't know that they're licensed and insured.
Yeah.
Like the legal repercussions that could come from that, and there's so many homeowners that don't understand, just basic legal practice, like
Right.
If
anything.
you weren't licensed, sure got a roof and fell off, you could sue the homeowner.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And now they're like, what? You
And
know?
Matt, oh well, they're not on the roof. They're doing all this from ladders. You're
Yeah,
wrong.
we are.
They're on the roof.
We are.
They're doing it from ladders, but they're also on your roof. And if if they fall off, the first person they can legally go after is you as the
The homeowner. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a huge importance.
I think we discussed a little bit of this morning, and I'll touch on the same subject, but it's a common thread of we had Kenyon on the show, and him and I were discussing
Hometown hero.
how easy it is, especially for the younger generation. I need something, I'm going to look at my phone first. I'm not going to drive to a location. I'm not going to go meet with someone. I'm not going to go talk with someone, things like that. Everyone sitting on this patio right now met face to face, and they've all been great business networking opportunities.
People do
Whether we
business with
use
people they know
each other or not, we still have educated each other in the industry for things that we didn't know. You know what I mean? So I feel, especially community-wise, that face-to-face time is absolutely crucial.
100%.
Everyone getting out into the downtown area.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like I said, we
Never
spoke
mind
about it.
supporting the local community.
We spoke about
the
it
local
with Kenyon,
economy.
of, like, the younger generation, I feel it's kind of lost on them a little bit. It's just like, let me see who I can find immediately.
Right.
And then they get 6 different answers, and who do you believe at that point?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
tough.
Right. And are they licensed?
Are they
and
reputable?
insured? Are they
Right.
reputable?
Have they been in business for more than 2 seconds?
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
That I just made this decision. This person needs my services. And don't get me wrong, there's tons of great businesses that have been started out of necessity. Obviously, if you see that people are posting this stuff online and you have a skill, go for it. It's the American dream. That's why we're all sitting here right now. But there has to be reputation involved. There has to be proper coverages involved to make sure that you're protecting not only yourself, but the people you're working for.
And the customer has the right to ask you for that.
No, absolutely.
They can't.
It's all
you
public
can't.
record.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've had even again. I dumb it down or play it down smaller because
guy.
it is important. But I've had people ask me, are you licensed and insured? I am. What are you insured? $2 million. I can show it to you if you want to see it. Wow, $2 million. What can you mess up that's $2 million? And I'm like,
I don't want you to know that.
I don't.
Yeah, I
want
don't-
you to find out.
I
I
know
said,
what's behind.
I said, but here's
down the driveway into your garage.
Here's a generic thing.
I don't know what's behind your garage
What
door.
happens
Right.
if I have this, basically slide in the air and this cable that, holds 40,000 pounds, and I'm going to put that much on it, breaks and it hits your garage door? Well, that's not going to be $2 million. I said, what happens if your priceless Bentley is sitting on the other side of the garage door? It might be $2 million, That's what I'm saying. Like, I can't. Hey, can I see in your garage before I put it? You can't. So be prepared and ask for it. And I'm telling the consumer this, whoever's going to see this, ask me, I'll send it to you. I have no problem
General
showing it to you. Ask
liability.
Aaron, ask Jordan, ask anybody. We will show it to you, and you can look it up yourself.
Yeah.
And that's, I will, just general comment to throw it out there. If you do contract somebody, and I know Jordan agrees with me wholeheartedly, he's probably sent more people COIs than, you know what I mean? Like, in the industry he's in, the industry we're all in, if somebody wants a certificate of insurance with their, themselves and their address named as additional insured, that is a very, very quick email away from happening. I mean, it might be a 2-minute inconvenience in your day. It's literally that easy.
And it's within the homeowner's rights too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But they don't know that.
That's what I'm saying. They don't know to
They-
ask a dumpster guy, or that's what
A
I'm saying. Even in
roofer,
mine, a
GC,
roofer and a
yeah.
GC,
Guy.
it would be.
It makes
more,
sense.
But, they don't think to ask.
Right.
More. It'd probably
But there's-
pertain more to Matt and I. Like, we'll show it to you. I have no problem.
Yeah.
And there's a huge difference, and this is more between Aaron and I, is there's a huge difference between being a licensed contractor and having a business license.
Yeah.
Right.
There's,
Yep.
what we go through to get these licenses is not just as simple as, I've done it for a little bit, I know what I'm doing. There's
Apply.
And it's not filing for a business tax receipt.
right.
A lot of
There's
people.
tests, state test exams. I've had to take 6 different tests to have the licenses that I hold.
Right.
State exams.
Wow.
And they're strict, and I mean, they literally, you go into this room, you can't have your watch, you can't have your wedding ring on.
Right.
There's cameras. Literally, there's 17 cameras in this little room about the size of this that are all facing you guys on computers, and they're watching you, and they make you take your shoes off. I mean, it's like you're going through TSA to take these tests. I mean,
You're messing with people's biggest investment.
But
Right,
never
yeah.
mind the fact that after these tests, and I feel like it's the unspoken things of our industries. after the test, you can pass a test. That's great. There's a credit check. There's a criminal background check.
Yeah.
There's fingerprinting. There's so many more things that go into being a licensed contractor than I'm really good at this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to rock with it. You know, anybody can file for a business tax receipt. An occupational license in your local municipality, anyone can get one.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, obviously you've got to have some things in line there, but to be state licensed by these boards of people that literally approve and disapprove these every single day, all day, for reasons such as bad credit.
Yep.
You know, they're not going to allow a contractor into this giant industry that can't pay their personal bills. I'm going to trust you with other people's money and paying all of these, you know, these subs and these supply companies.
Right.
We can't do that. You know, so it's pretty stringent. And if people knew what went into that, I feel like they'd be more apt to make sure they were doing their research.
Oh yeah.
So closing, back on the community stuff, what do we got going into the holidays? Because St. Cloud's really, it's a happening place here in the holidays. Christmas parade, things like
Christmas
that.
Christmas
parade, our Back to Connect.
Where can people find you guys in person?
Anywhere. No. I know all of us will be at the St. Cloud Christmas Parade December 7th. Jordan and Jason both sponsored the judges table, which is awesome. That's huge. I know Austin and myself will probably be in the parade. Other than that, honestly, this time of year is the best time to be downtown. There's markets and there's people and, you know, small vendors, local people that are trying to make their way into our business community.
And shop local, man.
That's important.
I mean, I never understood that concept until I became a business. I'm like, why would I pay more for something?
We were just talking about that.
And now, I mean, we bought a fridge a couple weeks ago, and I bought it from downtown. Yeah, I probably paid a couple $100 more than I could have found the fridge somewhere else, but
I know
you're supporting.
You go to Home Depot or Best Buy or something and buy that fridge, and you know, say it was $100 more, right? That makes no difference to them.
No.
makes no
And I
difference.
was
But
just
that
about to
person
say that.
you bought that from, even though you paid $100 more, you literally could have just made their week.
Yeah,
And
you don't know.
And
like
a good,
Jordan's saying, you're paying for their daughter's dance lessons. Or
So there's actually there's a statistic.
And again, you're
birthday
supporting
parties or
our
anything.
local economy. Like we live here to boost that. I mean, we're part of it.
So about 70 to 75% of what we spend goes to the actual business and the business owner here in St. Cloud.
Yeah.
And if you buy from a Best Buy or a Home Depot, it goes to corporate.
Yeah.
Like none of it goes to St. Cloud. It doesn't go back to
their
So
bonus that's going to be $3 million this year when, you know, there's local business owners that won't see that in 3 years.
So when you guys pay me your retainer fees on a monthly basis, I'm going to go out and take my daughter out, you know, for dinner at a local restaurant, right? You know, to treat her and to take her here, right? And that's important. If you know, working somewhere else, that's not going to go to that. So it's just great. But what else? You mentioned Connect December. Like what's in December?
So
I don't know if we've locked it in
we
yet.
haven't locked it in yet, so we're working on a date. Officially, we are doing, and this one will be a private for members event. There's not another meeting like this. Because it's new, and this is the first running of it, we're going to do a Christmas social, if you will.
Holiday.
Captain Stitch with Toho Riverboat Adventures. We're going to go out on the Pearl of the Lake, and again, none of this is set in stone yet. We've talked about it. We're trying to nail everything down and get dates and itineraries set. We're going to do a dinner for members and their spouses. You know,
no
we're
kids,
gonna
right?
no children. Yeah, we're going to keep it close.
Sorry.
Yeah.
But we want to make it into a toy drive to benefit our local community.
Yep. That's
and B, a night that we can all get together, enjoy each other, and kind of mix and mingle.
Nice.
And involve spouses. So
great.
We're definitely looking forward to that. That'll be a
Great.
big one.
I hope the dates work out.
We're gonna make sure Jason can be there.
Yeah, that's important, man. Because there's a December. There's a lot going on, and then we should hopefully all align on dates. Great. That's good.
All right, thank you guys so much for inviting us out. Like this was a fresh perspective here. We're usually doing it in studio, so Jordan, thank you so much for the hospitality and inviting us out to your house.
Yeah.
We really appreciate that.
If anybody wants a great place to hang out, Jordan's backyard.
There you go. Yeah.
Jordan's backyard is the ultimate meeting spot. So.
And before we forget, this episode and the episodes in October and November is also sponsored by Jordan from United Construction Solutions. So thank you so much as well.
Thank you for everything you guys do.
Supporting local, I mean, it's right in there, and I we thank you for that as well.
Yeah.
Just getting people in, getting them spotlighted is what we want to do here with this project. So thank you. Thank you, Aaron, Austin, Matt,
Absolutely.
Jason. Thank you as well. As always, it's Dalton Albritton inviting you to find your way to live in St. Cloud.
Thank you. See you around.